giving money and donations, new volunteers. All of this means the world to us. Lester did a social media video this week. Here's Lester. Social media star Lester is here in the flesh. And he said Edmonds is a community that cares, and Edmonds is a community that sees the humanity in other people. And we have felt that so much this week. Many of us have been brought to tears in multiple moments of people coming by and bringing food and funds, and some people saying, I have experienced food insecurity, and some people saying, I never have, but I'm still feeling led to do something about it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to give a little bit of a rundown of what the food bank looks like. Some of you know that. How many volunteers are here in the house? Many volunteers. Thank you all. We operate because of those volunteers. They keep things running here. So how the food bank works is anyone who needs food can fill out an order online, or they can come in person during our distributions, which are on Mondays and Tuesdays. And this whole room is set up kind of like a grocery store, and our volunteers make it happen. Our volunteers provide food and fill orders for 12 households every 10 minutes. So they are going through all of the, dried goods are here, they're still here. All the produce in the middle, all the bread over there. And that is how we operate our distributions. During the week, we also have a home delivery program. So we have a number of homebound seniors and individuals that it's hard for them to get to the food bank that receive food delivered to their home. So we also have volunteers that are drivers, that drive one of our vans, that drive their own vehicles, that see their same customers every week and go and deliver food to them. And we also have our off-site distribution. Some of our partners are here with us tonight. Washington West African Center, Latino Educational Training Institute, and Korean Community Service Center are three main partners that are nonprofits that have their own community and group that they're working with, and we partner with them to do food distribution. So two of them will be here on the panel with us tonight. So through all of those ways of food distribution, typically we are serving 1,200 households a week. That is what we have been experiencing. This week was a different story, and I will let Casey share a little bit about what we have experienced this week. We also place high priority on culturally relevant foods and nutritionally dense foods and fresh produce and all of that. So I am going to invite Casey forward. Well, first I'll share. Casey will share, and then we will have our panelists come forward and answer some of your questions. While she's talking, if you feel so led to come up and fill out a question, feel free. But Casey has been the director of the food bank since 2018. She has led us through many policy changes, through a pandemic, so she can share a little bit about her work here at the food bank, and then also her involvement with the Washington Food Coalition and the Snohomish County Food Coalition.
Thanks, Kelly, and thank you for putting this on. Kelly coordinated all this tonight in a very short time, and I do have a few other thank yous. Yes, please thank her. Jeremy, the pastor at this church, thank you, because we asked 3 days ago, and they were like, yes, make it happen, we'll support you, so thank you there. Please don't forget about our partners. Kim and I have worked together for every year that I have been here, from Washington Kids. Cassie's new to Clothes for Kids, but I've worked with Clothes for Kids ever since the day I started as well. We're so thrilled they're here. And back here is also Alicia from Homage. We have a great partnership with them as well. So just knowing, as well as you're going to hear again from Letty and our partners at the Korean Community Services Center as part of this panel. I would be remiss not to again thank our volunteers, but also the staff. A lot of times right now we're getting asked, I think, the thing we want to hear least, and that is, where did my paper go? The thing we hear often is, so how are you doing? You stole my paper. I'm like, where did my papers go?
Here's my paper. And there's your paper.
Yes, thank you.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you. I can't trust him. What can I say? We are known for being both sarcastic and silly around here, and it's important because that's what I was just going to say. Being asked that right now is a really loaded question because when I started here, we served 200 customers a week. That's it, 200. In the heat of COVID, 450 households a week. This past week, 1,519 households. And before you go, oh my gosh, how I'm wild, these partner organizations, we didn't have any distributions with them this week. Normally that bumps our number up because at Korean Community Services, we serve about 100 to 125 households every time we do a distribution there. And at Letty, it's around 50 or 60 households every week. So those aren't even included. Neither are our WAWAC partners. Neither are all of those other partners. That was simply people that we had to figure out how to get through a distribution here. So this week alone, we had 77 new households. Put that in perspective, on a busy month, we see 150 new households. 70 on Monday and Tuesday, just in November so far, 2 days. We're getting phone call after phone call. So my staff, when they get asked, how are you doing? We're hanging on, to be honest. But the reason we're hanging on is because of all the people who are facing the challenges of our community today. So I was looking at a number of different things. That was 400 households we served in 4 hours on Monday night. 400 households. That's a personalized order. Everyone served in 30 minutes or less, and that was the 150 that were in the parking lot, not all the people that got served at 12 every 10 minutes. That doesn't include all the people who drove onto the property because we turned no one away. So perspective of what we do, that would normally be right around 300 households, 350 on a really busy. So 400 and some households in that much time. It's a lot. Why? Well, SNAP benefits have been withheld. That's for sure part of it. And the part you're hearing about, in all honesty, is they've withheld SNAP benefits. So let me put that one in perspective a little bit for you. This money that they're withholding is $6 a day in funding per person in the household if they get approved. $168 for a family of 4 for a week. That is what people are saying is too much to be giving someone. Now, I did we used to call it, when I used to do design work, back of the envelope design. Because I was getting asked, why do I say that we try and provide 30% of a household's food needs, and we make sure to prioritize fresh dairy and fresh produce over everything else, including the staples and all, even though we provide that? Why? 30% and why fresh produce? Because the difference between someone's budget, if they're buying culturally appropriate fresh produce and culturally appropriate foods for their household, adds to an average budget in this county of $320 a week to buy just basics for that family of 4. It adds another $30 just to do that. But they only have $168 from SNAP. And if they're working, 2 people in that family are working $28 an hour jobs, both of them are working, and they're paying to live in this Snohomish County. By the time they are done paying just their basic bills, they're $75 in the hole each week. Then you add to that the $168. Oh, I forgot to tell you, when I did that calculation that they're $75 in the hole, that doesn't include them buying any food at all. That was their rent, their paying for gas or their bus pass, and their electric and their phone, that stuff. That's all that was paying for. They're $75 in the hole each week. So $168 does that, right? That's what they have on SNAP to go buy food with. It's not going to buy a whole lot of that $350 they need to buy food. That's why people come to the food bank. So after they're on getting, if they can, getting food for their kids on the free and reduced lunch and breakfast programs, we're hoping to help them with approximately 6 of those 21 meals they have to deal with every week. That's all we're trying to do, and we're not meeting that need right now. So, but that's our goal, and that goal is that it's fresh because health outcomes improve. So here are the 2 other things we are facing. If SNAP came back tomorrow, people 55 to 62 who aren't working, who used to be able to get SNAP and do things like stay home and take care of their grandkids or help, or they couldn't work for some reason, now have to work at least 20 hours a week or they don't get SNAP anymore. That started November 1st. If you have a child in your household and you wanted to stay home and help raise them, it used to be until 18, one person in the household didn't have to work in order for them to take care of those family members. And this includes kids who have both challenges, whether it's a physical or a mental challenge, fall right into this category if it's not a major enough issue, right? Now that's 14. So if your child is 15, you just lost your SNAP benefits. You gotta go find a job, work at least 20 hours a week in order to get that. And if you're unhoused, I'm not even going there. The whole reason we went to EBT cards was so people could get that money electronically. So if they didn't have a home or they lost their home or they had to move quite often, they could use the EBT card and still have food. But we're making that impossible too. Those things are happening whether SNAP comes back tomorrow or not. Now, I'm not being political. I deal in food insecurity. I don't deal in politics. Those are the people that we are going to see coming through our door, okay? It's just going to happen. Right after the elections next year, again, not being political, just telling you it's November 1 of next year, there's a whole nother group that loses their benefits from SNAP. They're losing $6 a day per person in the family. This is all over $160 some a week for a family of 4. So that's what we're dealing with. That's the stresses we're facing. The governor gave $2.2 million. Great, right? I mean, that's amazing that they found that. That's per week. That translates, as I'm the president of the Snohomish County Food Coalition, that translated, we found out our number. We will get $120,000 per week for our 17 food banks to use. Yes. Yeah, that's for the whole county. It's for the whole county. Very generously, I just got an email from Dave Summers. The county, because the coalition has worked with the county and we got an ARPA grant and we managed it really well and showed them that we spend so much of that on food and not on overhead, they've started to work with us directly and not through a bunch of lead agencies. And because of that, Dave Summers today, the county has cannot come close to filling the gap, but they will give $200,000, 10 of it to the family resource centers that help individuals, and $100,000 to the Snohomish County Food Coalition. It's another $100,000. I think that's great. We appreciate that, and that will be added to it. And we are already buying the food with the 120 we have. We will be buying food for our 17 food banks with the rest of that. So that's really good news. You guys have shown up. That makes a huge difference. We do have a lot of food, and I'm looking over here and people are going, gosh, they must have a lot of food, because see all that over there? That's because if you could go on our dock, which you can't right now, it is completely empty, because Lester came to me and said, hey, we got this grant for a new freezer. Let's try and do it after we get through things like empty bowl and before we get into the holiday season in late November. We really appreciate that, but the freezer got torn out today. So normally this stuff that we have to take on Wednesday would be on our cooler truck, but we'll turn the heat back off as soon as y'all leave. But if you look at that, see those first 2 stacks? That's all produce. That, double it, and it'll all be gone next week. About 8 pallets of produce will be gone with who we're serving. So everything else on the other end, multiply it by 3, because that's these kinds of staples and stuff that I have back here. Multiply what you see there plus what you see here by about 3, all of that will be gone. So it's really great that we're getting a lot of food in because it's helping us. But what we're realizing is last year we looked at the numbers. We got almost $1.1 million or pounds of food donated to us last year. That's pretty amazing, right? All of our trucks going out and picking up food, all the food drives you guys do. I mean, you really save us. Guess how much we distributed? 2 million pounds. We had to buy something, right? We're buying a huge amount of that food. So that's the only way we can keep providing food to everyone. So all that support really helps. Short term, those things are great. Long term, much as we appreciate you, Jeremy, we can't survive here. It's a tough place for us to work in that we can't be open enough hours. We have some challenges with being open late in the evenings. None of this is the United Methodist Church's fault. It's just how society has changed and things. Most of our customers work full time. So we need to be open more in the evenings. We need to be open maybe on a weekend here or there. And we need to have more opportunities for people to shop in person, none of which we can really do here, even though we personalize those orders. So we have a capital campaign going. Because what our belief is this. We don't need a space to just provide food. What we need is a space to have our partners be able to come in and have a space to work with our customers when they need it. We need to be able to have everything from legal aid to somebody helping somebody fill out an application for SNAP. We need everything from somebody explaining how you can rent an apartment to how you can budget so you can figure out how to buy a home. We need all of those things because that makes food insecurity go away. Because the reality is, negative $75 doesn't allow you to be a productive member of our community, as hard as these individuals are trying. They just are surviving. And we can help them thrive through our campaign. We can help them thrive because not only can we provide a place that provides as much dignity as respect as we do here and with our partners, but it can also be in a space where we can teach people how to cook and help them learn how to grow their own food so they don't need to pay the prices that go all over the place in the market when they can't, right? It will teach them how to be able to have a chance to be in community with others. And it doesn't mean that, how many here cook? Wouldn't you like to be in an opportunity where you could cook a recipe that you know from your culture, share it with other people, and then they can get the food from the food bank? Do you get food from our food bank that you can, would you be able to get food from our food bank to cook your culturally appropriate food from your family? And teach others to do that so that we can all become a tighter, more supportive community. Because as I always say, everyone in this room, and I don't care what your bank account says, is one job loss, one change in how the government decides to bill or not bill us for whatever they're billing us for, one change in the health of someone in your family. The number 2 reason people come here is they retire. And prices go like this, and their income goes like this. And then they're at the food bank, right? So all of those are reasons why people come here. So if we help when we can give, and we're here when it's an opportunity that you need support. That's the whole idea behind the idea of our Thrive campaign and our community engagement work that we would do in a new building. So having said all that, I'm wondering if I hit all the things that Kelly over there told me I had to hit. So I'm going to talk to you about really quickly about this. We love creative ideas around here. We've had people show up with all kinds of creative ideas. So I'm going to give you a couple, and then I'm going to ask you to think about what is your passion in this world? What are you passionate about? I'm passionate about food, so mine matches pretty easily, right? But what are you passionate about? And in thinking of that, do we have gardeners in the room? I know we have some that donate to us, right? But what if you organized your neighbors to have a grow campaign? and not that kind of a grow campaign. Needed the laugh line there. To help them learn how to grow vegetables in their gardens. To be a mentor to other people in your community, and then you all donate that food. Take what you need, donate to us. What if you became a neighborhood collection point? Whether it's for us or for any of our partner organizations, right? What if you love to play sports and you organized a tournament of your friends and neighbors with some kind of fee associated with it or donations that went to the food bank? What if you like to cook and a bunch of you raised your hands, right? What if you did, do you guys know what progressive dinner parties are? Where you move from one house to the next house. What if you did one of those and you did some kind of fun stuff, or you called me and said, hey, Casey, come talk during it. I can talk shorter, I swear I can. If you're a business owner, you can talk to us about our sponsorships, or you can talk, if you are a restaurant owner, or how many here go to restaurants in Edmonds? Really? Because we got cards that you can take that Kelly's going to provide for our restaurant partnership program. You just hand it to them and say, hey, become a partner to the food bank. We support them. We already have, we introduced it last week, and we already have 11 restaurants that have joined. So we're always trying to think of new ideas, including this one. Here's my one that I tell everybody. There are two things that I do long before I worked at a food bank. One was buy one, get one free. I always do it. And then I have a bag in my car, and the free goes in the bag. Gets donated to a food bank. Didn't cost me a thing except to do it. Another one is, okay, I'm forever, I got the recipe, I'm gonna make this dinner. And Monday I work late, and Tuesday something happens, and Thursday we can't get home, and Steve just like, my husband, Steve, we're going out to dinner tonight. And on Friday morning I get up and I'm like, those vegetables and fruits are not lasting till next week when I finally get around to cooking them. So don't let them go bad. Put them in a bag and bring them to the food bank, and they'll go out within a couple of days. It's these simple things, because in reality, in this country, we waste 40% of the food that is purchased. If we simply did not waste that food, either by not buying it and donating the money to your local food bank or meal program, or if you didn't let it rot, just brought it in, imagine how many people we could feed. It's a really simple things like that. We're looking for more ideas, and we're happy to talk to you. And here's the thing, as these guys know, we all laugh when I say this. I will come talk to a group. I don't care how small the group is or how big the group is. I've spoken to groups of 5 people, and in my career at different times, I've spoken to 10,000. Well, some of them are on watching it, but I've had 1,000 people in a room and spoken. I will talk to anyone about food security and why it is the most central need that we have. It is part of taking care of each other. And at the state level, at the county level, and at this food bank level, I will continue to work to make sure that happens, and I'm asking you guys to join me in doing that. So, thank you. I was supposed to be done at 7, but I want you to be aware of the fact that we did start late.
Yeah, I don't buy it. All right, we'd like to invite Lester, hello, Lester, who's our Senior Community Programs Manager. And we would like to invite Erica from LETI, Latino Educational Training Institute, and Ellen from Korean Community Service Center to be our panelists. Can you be in charge of that mic, Lester? And share it too? Here, let's just move that all the way out of the way, yeah. Good question.
Yep, I got it.
So if you, we will take other questions if you feel led with a burning question during it. We will have a hand-raising session as well.
What channel do we need to be on?
We're not talking to you, Susan. Susan's like, how can I help you? While we are in this interim time figuring out our mic, one thing I do want to mention is there are some policymakers in the house tonight. One of them is Zachary, raise your hand, who is here with Maria Cantwell's office. And so he is happy to answer any individual questions that anyone has after the fact, but I know his office has been working very hard over the past couple weeks to ensure that benefits are being brought back. And one of the things that he told me about earlier tonight is that he is working on a group to make sure, the headline today is that SNAP funding will come back in full by Friday. If that is true, his office is going to ensure that it is true. Try.
Sure.
His
They
office is
also-
going to try.
Sure. They're going to try and ensure that. What she's trying to say is Senator Cantwell's office is working very hard to ensure that that happens. As we know, no one senator, no one representative can make those changes, but they have been an advocate for us, not just during the SNAP issues, but they have also been a supporter of our capital campaign and trying to get us funding for that as well. They're a longtime supporter of ours. I've been to DC to see the senator, very active in supporting ways to ensure food security in our community.
Thank you, Casey. Our first question is, and specifically because you heard how the loss of SNAP benefits have impacted our community directly at the food bank this week. And one of the things with this surge is that we have had to cut our distributions down to once a month with our offsite partners. So I would like to hear directly from Ellen and Erika to talk a little bit about how either the SNAP delay in benefits has impacted their community this week at Korean Community Service Center and at Latino Educational Training Institute, or how cutting our distributions to going down to once a month has impacted your community.
It's been very severe, and we still have families calling every day asking when is going to be the next distribution and how they can have access to it. We have a very specific community that you guys were very grateful that you step up, bringing the food bank and wheels to our community, because some of them, they don't have transportation. They don't have the way to come all the way here. So we step up from them, but also the food bank listen and understand our community, how a struggle it can be sometimes, the barriers that they have, language, understanding how the system works, who can benefit from the food bank, like you mentioned before. You don't care about if you have a job or you don't know the situation in the family. So this is something that really impact the families that come to us or asking where I can go and get food. Well, did you hear ever about the food banks? Do you know that you can go and get some food there? No, I never heard about it. So this is how I take a little bit of education, but also now that we're gonna go down to once a month, it really impacting our community because those families, they cannot get all the way here. So we have to figure out in a way that we can ensure that they're gonna have some food security and that we're gonna provide that part that it comes like mental health and physical health for them. They're not gonna be worried about it. They're already facing a lot of stress with the immigration rates and the fear to go out. So some of them, they don't even go out. It's just they send the kids to school with the fear maybe they're not gonna see them again. So this is on top of the situation they are already facing. We have one more thing to worry about it. How are we gonna feed my family? And we're gonna tell you something about it. A lot of the immigrants' families, they don't even qualify for the SNAP. So they don't depend on the SNAP. So this is the only way they can have access to food. So now with this, the whole situation, the SNAP program and the way that little snowball is going bigger and bigger and bigger, it's affecting over here, here, here. And of course, the families, they really have that need. And all these barriers that we've been seeing every day and those phone calls that we receive. Hey, Erika, how I can access to food. What I did is start reaching out to other food banks and trying to make a list of different food banks around other areas that they can go and have access with different schedules, because that's another thing, like you mentioned, Casey, that campaign that you're doing and the things, the amazing things that you're proposing, they're great. Having a space, the inclusion, and we can learn how to cook, how to grow, have access, and all week long if you can, right? So that should be a great dream to come true.
Hi, I'm Ellen, and I'm with the Korean Community Service Center, or KCSC. And for us, we hold a food bank every second Friday of each month. And we're able to bring groceries to 150 households. Of course, we would like to do more of that, feed more people, but unfortunately, that's just how much we are able to do currently. And with the food bank, we are able to provide both American groceries, thanks to the Edmonds Food Bank, but also we're able to provide more culturally preferred items. So, for example, that is like Napa cabbage, green onions, and bok choy, which is a staple in Korean families. And unfortunately, we have had 3 new applicants mentioning to us that the reason why they were joining our food bank was because of the fact that they couldn't get EBT anymore. And we have also had a lot of existing customers ask us if we would be continuing our food bank because they were scared that they would not be able to have food anymore. Thankfully, we are going to be continuing that. And just in general with our food bank, and thanks to the Edmonds Food Bank, we have had so many people come to us telling us how grateful they are for our contributions, especially because we are trying our best to make sure that all their needs are met, not just with very simple food, but for food that is actually nutritious, actually something that is good for them and what they want to eat. And that has really brought a lot of joy to the families, and hearing that also makes us so happy and proud.
Okay.
Sorry, now I got the talking tick. I like to talk. So something that I want to address that they were mentioning, just to give some clarity, why is it important to have like culturally relevant food? Like, we might be thinking like, why don't you just eat whatever is available? There's a very strong connection between your mental health, your emotions, and the food that you eat. So this is very tied up to the way you grew up, your household. I mean, just remember when you were young and you would walk into your grandma's or grandpa's or whoever was taking care of you's house, right? And they had like this special meal that you would eat at their house every minute, every moment. You would feel happy, right? You would feel like there was a connection. You would feel something that would light you up when you walk into that room. And so for a lot of people who are migrants, who are migrating to this country, myself, I'm one of them actually. I'm originally from Central America. I'm from Nicaragua. And so for me, whenever I go to a store, for example, and I find cultural relevant food from my country, I get happy. Like if you tell me you got fried cheese there, because we eat fried cheese in my country, if you tell me like that cheese is for frying, I'm jumping up and down. I'm like, so just imagine that connection that people have. And so that's why we make so much focus on cultural relevant food. Besides that, it's actually 9% more expensive in Snohomish County. So if you want to actually go to the store and buy food that is culturally relevant to your culture, it's usually a bit more expensive than the food that we have available, because obviously they have, you have to import it from other countries, etc. So it does have a higher price, but it's really important. It's really important for your mental health, and it's really important because you're eating actually something that you like. You tend to, have a wider connection to that. So yeah.
No, mine's quick. It's just a reminder that as a food bank, we have a nutrition policy here, because it's not just your mental health, it's your physical health. And if you eat poorly, it's ultimately going to affect every one of you, not just that person, because eating poorly means your health goes south. And that means that your medical bills go up. And if you don't have good medical coverage, that means the state is helping pay for that. And that means all of us are helping pay, which I'm happy to do, but I'd be much happier if I just helped them get healthy food.
Exactly.
This is the question of the week, the question we've been asked the most. food or money? Which one is preferred when you are thinking about giving to the food bank? Which one would we prefer?
I answer this very simply. Which one speaks to you most? Because if giving food fills you, then it fills us. If you giving money, we appreciate that just as much, and if that fills you, that fills us. The reality is we must have both. You want to comment on that? Because you guys get money too.
Yes, I think is for me the way I see it, and talking about the food bank, they know the clients, they know what their needs are, and I think it's important. For me, will be give the money because you can address it and you can have serve not just one community, all the communities. So I will say money should be something that we can provide, and then you guys buy whatever you consider they need the community.
And not everyone has to answer every question, so I'm going to keep going through the questions. Yeah. What is the best way to organize a neighborhood food drive?
So for that one, it's we have you can send us an email to programs@edmondsfoodbank.org, which is my email. We have we're creating actually we call it a food drive toolkit, which is going to have all the roadmap of how to do a successful food drive, from like how to post it on your social media, how to organize your neighborhood, where we're going to also offer brochures so you can give out to your neighbors and they can know what to give. The items are, I'll talk a little bit before I say that about my role here at the food bank. As a program manager, I'm the one that's actually in charge of buying. So I'm one of the parents of the household. I have to move the budget and then buy the food according to our budget. So I think that ever since I started working here, I have a bit of more grays on my hair because it's every single week I have to think about how to feed all that people around us. And so yeah, we're going to create a toolkit. So when that toolkit is created, we're going to go ahead and send that toolkit to whoever wants to host a food drive. There are specific items that we do by season. So for example, right now we're going to the harvest holidays and the end of the year holidays. And so we have specific items. Like I said, going back to the fact that a lot of our customers like to feel the feeling of the holidays as well. You know, they have the right, in my opinion, to experience the celebrations whatever way they want to celebrate for the harvest season or the end of the year holidays. And so the items change, but it is a toolkit that we're going to be offering to the community. It's going to be streamlined, a nice flow with all the proper steps of how to do a successful food drive for us. And you can even use that probably to, for other food banks as well. I don't know.
The next question is in young handwriting, and it's a very good question. How do you fit all the food in the fridge?
I play a lot of Tetris when I was young.
Play Tetris, kids.
It was part of the job application requirements. I was like, look, I'm really good at three-dimensional Tetris. Are you? He is.
So yes, we definitely pack up a lot in our freezers. Obviously, we always have to take consideration the safety guidelines. We want to minimize the injuries minimize injuries around the place. So yeah, the way we organize it, we have right now currently one produce freezer, which we also put the bread in, one dairy freezer, which we also use for the cooler. I'm sorry, my language sometimes changes. So yeah, well, cooler. So we have two coolers, one for the vegetables, one for the dairy, and then we have a freezer, which, as Casey mentioned, initially we got a grant to expand, which I'm really happy for, because the reason why we want to expand it is because we want to offer also our partners space. Sometimes we've had the Korean community, storing some stuff. I would love to offer them more space, but sometimes we run out of space. The second point for that is because as Food Bank Coalition, we receive sometimes pretty good deals. And so an example of that, for example, we got contacted by a company who sold us frozen pollock. Frozen pollock. Yeah, sorry. Frozen pollock. And it was a lot. And the price was very, very good, to the point that we cannot say no. Because like I said, this is like a household. We have to budgetize ourselves. If we find a good deal, then we'll go ahead and get it. That pollock actually lasts us for almost 6 months, which means that we had enough pollock to feed people, fish to feed people for almost 6 months. And so with a bigger freezer, my thought was like, well, we're gonna keep getting those deals. If I get a really good deal, I'm gonna fill it up. Also, there's other food banks that are smaller than us, and sometimes they, if a freezer breaks down, they cannot host their items there. We're gonna host them for them. Now the expansion is not as big. I mean, it's not like we're getting a bigger one, but an extra bigger one, but it is actually some square feet that is gonna increase. We're really happy with it. It's also more efficient, so that's gonna help us with reducing the electrical cost of the building. And at the same time, it has better insulation, so it's going to keep our stuff better. So yeah, the way I organize that is all of our produce goes in one cooler. I stack them by fives. Like I said, I pull out Tetris, so it's just finding ways to stack them. We do get a lot of help from the volunteers, but yeah, basically we use our coolers in the best way possible. If I don't have space, then I use my freezer truck, which you guys will see outside right now, turned on.
So a little context, we receive food through Volunteers of America and Northwest Harvest. The question is, how will product from VOA and Northwest Harvest be impacted by the continued government shutdown?
Okay, first of all, we don't receive any food from Volunteers of America. Just let me be very, very clear on that. They are a pass-through location for our federally funded food or for other programs that we get food through. So because of that, we are highly impacted. Our TFAP food has gone down significantly, which is our federally funded food. Luckily, the state, our EFAP, our state-funded financial money that we get for that did not go down, so we really appreciated that. But we did lose, Lester will give you the numbers in just a second on that. So on that front, it's money coming through the federal government, and they made huge cuts to it. On the side of Northwest Harvest and our partners at Food Lifeline, who both get funding and support through other avenues as well, that's where our food actually comes through, that comes through Volunteers of America. Food Lifeline just told us they got some additional grants, so they're going to be getting about 7 more trucks a month, which will really help us out. Because a lot of it's fresh produce, so that's going to help us through some grants that they got. Northwest Harvest, honestly, it's suffering. It's really suffering, and we get a lot less. When I first started here, we got nearly 15% of our food from there. We're lucky if we get 7 or 8% of our food through them now. And we drive to Kent to pick that up, and we have to drive to Arlington to pick up the rest of our food. So we spend a lot of time on the road, and he can give you the percentages that we've gone down.
Yeah, so for that, for groceries, so we have multiple programs that we get food from, right? There's multiple avenues that we use. One of the programs that we get food from is called Grocery Rescue, and this is part of a Food Lifeline program. It's called RAF. And there's several stores participating in Edmonds. The way that works is that whatever they don't sell, whatever is going to expire or go bad, they give it to us. A lot of the times, actually, they're in really good shape. And so 35% of our total poundage that we get is actually from that Grocery Rescue. We used to get around 35% from the TFAP, which is those apples actually come from TFAP, the apples, the plums. We used to get 35% of our total poundage from them. Now we're down to 17, which means that I have to cover that 17 lack of funding with our budget. And so before we were using almost a 25%, before we were using almost a 25% of our budget to buy fresh produce and vegetables and the dairy, of course, and other items. Now I'm up to almost 40%. And so we're basically covering almost 40% of our poundage distributed with the funds that we get. That includes dairy. Last week, for example, just an example, last week I ordered 60 cases or 60 boxes of eggs. I normally order 40. They were all gone. Luckily, we did get from the federal government actually eggs this week, so that's going to help us for the next week to offset a little bit of the cost. But yeah, those are the percentage. Right now it's like around 17% from the federal government, 35% from food rescues, 40% we have to fund, and then the rest is just by smaller donations, individuals, some other grocery rescues that we do, but that's how we kind of get the food in our poundage.
I I have a question for you. Do you partner with local farmers that they can donate any food from them?
Yes, we do. We get food from farmers in a couple of ways. One, thanks to PCC, they do a grant to us every year that is directly, we have to purchase from farmers that sell to them, which are all local. We get food through, we do SNAP at the market in town, and always have to give a shout out to Alvarez Farms because they help coordinate a lot of it. This year, every summer, we get somewhere between 20 and 30,000 pounds of food from those market vendors that we go pick up. That's across the whole summer. So that's another big impact. And then because we've met those farmers, Lester can talk about all the farmers that we purchase from, and we do prioritize local and small family owned.
Yeah, we tried to definitely use local farms. The problem, and I said unfortunately, the problem is that local farmers usually have a higher cost than bigger producers. So we also try to work with companies who purchase directly from local farmers here, and they can give us a better cost. But yeah, we do purchase from some local farms. The PCC grant is a good example of how bigger businesses, like PCC, for example, can support those local farmers, and because it's a win-win for everybody. We get a grant from them, but we have to purchase directly from the farmers. And the way it works is that I choose the farmers. They send me a list, the farmers who have produce that are for our community and for the wider community. And so I think it's a pretty good deal, because honestly, purchasing directly with funds, if a food bank would basically just purchase from a farmer, it would be a bit of a higher cost. And with the increase of customers, I've been doing a pretty good job, I think, balancing out my wallet, because even though we've had an increase of customers, I haven't increased my expenses to crazy levels, right? So I'm still sticking there in the fine line, walking, every Monday. Every time I have to give the budget to Casey, I'm like, I think that this week, probably a bit higher, but I don't know.
I know when he's hiding in the freezer a lot, because I'm like going in the freezer.
But yes, local farmers definitely do get our support, and like I said, it would be cool actually if the state had some policy where there would be some way of addressing the lower costs for farmers, and that food banks can work more directly with them. But it's definitely really.
And we lost the Farm to Food Bank program. That was another cut that happened. So the Farm to Food Bank and our Farm to School programs were eliminated. So we used to get product through that, which is part of what you're alluding to. So that used to be part of what we received, and both of those programs no longer exist. So
two other questions I want to make sure we get to. One is, what does an off-site distribution look like? So maybe for Ellen and Erica can kind of talk about how does the food get from the food bank to you, and what is it like?
Oh my goodness, this is a good one. It is really amazing. And the compromise and the responsibility and the kindness that it comes from you guys to get there, and also for the laity and the volunteers as well to be there for the community. So it looks like we have 50 to 60 families sometimes getting ready. They arrive probably between half an hour early, trying to be there and secure a spot in the line. And you can see different faces. We recognize some of them by name already because we get so familiar. Everybody gets so excited because it's food bank distribution. They know they're gonna take any culturally appropriate food to their homes: tomatoes, onions, peppers, cilantro, name it. So beans, rice. So you can see their faces leaving with a big thank you, and they cannot say thank you enough every time that we had the food bank distribution. And it's very hard feeling to see how, like you mentioned, it's a lot that you give, but so little comparing what the inflation and the things that we're going through. But it means the world for those families. We have today a person right here. His name is Abad. Abad is a client for us from Lady and the Edmonds Food Bank.
A client and a volunteer
and a
that helps make it happen.
Too. So I invite him today because I say I want you to listen, and I want him to just a little example of what he goes through. And the food that he takes home mostly is fresh food. Why? Because he's diabetic. So he needs to take care of himself. He cannot work a full-time job. So he does jobs here and there. And on top of that, he has to take care of himself. No insurance, no SNAP program, because he cannot qualify for it, and name it. So this is how it looks at distribution outside of the Leti side with the Edmonds Food Bank. And probably Lester can add a little more of that, but we're always excited to just serve the people and make sure that they're gonna have some food on their table.
And they get food through our mobile pantry that drives up. That's the only thing I'll add, because each one of our distributions fit the customer.
Lester, do you want to share what we named the mobile pantry?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So a couple of while ago, we came up with the idea of having a mobile food bank, basically. And I mean, I know you probably have seen around there some like food trucks, but my idea was like, how can we create the same standard? How can we create the same value and give the same love to the community in a place where they feel that they're not really asking for food, but actually doing their shopping? That's why we do this online personalized shopping for the customer. And so we had that trailer back there. My predecessor, River, he started with the project, and then I finished it. So we put some shelvings on it. We got a van. I hook up that thing to the van. I fill it up with food, and I go to Leti, and I put everything on the shelves. And so the customers go for one door. They grab their bags. They go to the shopping like you're in a little supermarket. They put in their bags, whatever they want, and then they come out from the other door after they get their proteins. And that's it, you know. They're safe from the wind, from the rain. Like right now, for example, it would have been getting wet. So part of my idea was like, you know, they don't deserve to get wet. Like, why would you be shopping for food and getting wet and getting cold in this weather? So let's shield them from that. And so yeah, that's what we've been doing with Leti, with that little, I call it my the rolling artichoke.
And we do differently.
Yeah, and we do it different with the Korean community. So I'll let her speak of how we do it with the Korean community.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we do it on the second Friday of each month. We used to do it at the KCSC parking lot. So we would have cars pull up. They would also kind of stand in line to get their spot. It's kind of it's a hard process for everybody, but it's what works right now. And we will be doing it at the Edmonds Food Bank starting in November. And with this, we have like 2 bags that we do. We have the American food, which is kind of more the staple products. And then we have also the culturally sensitive, like Korean food, Asian food items. And we often have to buy sale items, as Lester said. But with that, we have Edmonds Food Bank's help with storing refrigerated items, hopefully more with the expanded freezer.
We have a special spot for all of our partners now. We have a division that we did there that's going to, I was thinking about the way designer, we're like, we have to keep a space for our partners, and so we have, it's part of our design. Very
much appreciated, thank you. And another story, same with the Leti story. We also have volunteers who are also customers. And it's really hopeful just like seeing them because, for example, we have one 83-year-old gentleman who delivers food to 5 seniors who are in their 90s. And he always tells us that he's really grateful to have this opportunity to help out just people in his community. And for him, it's not just about making food deliveries, not just about helping feed people, but it's about the connection. So every time he goes to make a stop, he makes sure to have a conversation with these people and make sure they're doing okay, not just in terms of food, but mentally as well. And I think that really helps to strengthen the entire community because then we are able to just help each other. And he's just a small example, just one example of the amazing people that we have in our community to help volunteer, but also just the strength of the customers that we have who are just trying their best.
That's awesome.
And I'll just touch really quick. Sorry, Kelly. I know. I'll just touch really quick. So those are 2 of our outreaches that we do. we do like around 10 in general, and so yeah, we do multiple avenues. That's why we also that's one of our ways of making sure that the greater outside of Edmonds who don't have access also receive that. And so we partner up with multiple organizations like the Korean community, like we said, like with Leti, with the West African, Washington West African Center. We also do community well-being, which is another center that does up in Bothell. There's Trinity Lutheran Church as well. I don't know, we have multiple ones that we serve, and so that is part of our mission. Is that because we're talking about the schedule and the timings here, and the you know, we have those 2 days available. We're always thinking like how we can get the food to the people that need it the most, and so that's why we have the mobile, the rolling artichoke. That's why the Korean community, which I'm really happy that they're going to be here as well, because one of the things that I've learned about that is that they're super organized. I love to see the distribution. I swear. They're really well organized.
No offense, Erika, of course.
Oh, no, in general. Because the distributions are a bit different. Like with Leti, I already have the mobile unit. Over there, they have to organize their whole setting, and you know, it's a whole different setting, but they're both wonderful. Everyone is wonderful.
Totally. Don't dig yourself in a hole, Lester. I don't need that. The last question is, how much have you raised for your capital campaign, and where will your new food bank be?
Okay, so if you haven't heard in the news, we had a property, we had a memorandum of understanding that fell through. And I am a huge fan and actual believer that it wasn't the perfect spot. We were going to make it work. What it did was allow us to get the program off the ground. And while we would have made it work and it would have been a great opportunity, it allows us to be a little broader, to know that we're looking. We are talking with 3 different locations right now. We're looking for more opportunities. It will be in Edmonds. And it will continue to do the things that we believe are most important, which is the idea of a community engagement center wrapped around a food bank and eating, you know, in a commercial kitchen, and all of the things that makes a difference for in the community. And it's incredibly important that that happen, because our goal is every day to find ways to solve food insecurity. It's not just an issue of people. It is a societal issue, and with societal change, it could be solved very quickly. Therefore, we want to make sure the building we build can meet the needs of the community to keep them from sliding into food insecurity, as well as helping people who are facing it. We don't have to do all that work. We have plenty of partners who help us do that work, and we want to have the space and the ability for them to come in when needed and provide whatever services our customers need. So we have, at this point, in part thanks to a grant that we just received from Amazon of $250,000, and to the members of the Capital Campaign Committee, some of whom are here, we are at about 1.4. We're a little over $1.4 million. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot of a $12 million campaign, but let me explain something about how capital campaigns work. What we need is the community. That 1.4 million is part of 5 million that we need to get the community to support us in building. Because what that does is that opens up avenues to look over there to people that might be sitting in government jobs and say, look, the community does support us. That we have this basic funding, and that gives them the ability to be able to get us funding at other levels, at the county, the state, and the federal level. It also opens up a huge number of foundation grants that we can't touch until that money is pledged. We don't have to have every cent of it, but we have to have it pledged. So we're at 1.4 of 5 million is what we're talking about right now. Could happen very easily that we could get there. If you want to know how you can make a difference in that, you can talk to me or to Jeremy. Where is he hiding? There he is. He was ducked behind there. And we can talk to you about how you can make a difference on that front. This is an and situation. We need to continue to do the work that we're doing in the community. And we need to prepare for the future. Whether that is the 2,500 households that we could be seeing, or whether we solve things and we're down to seeing 200 or 300 that need to come on and off because of things that happen in our life until we help people to move on.
Thank you. That is all the questions I am going to read from this stack. But before we let you go, is there anyone that has a burning question or would like to offer a question or comment before we close? Yes.
It would need to be. Right. So here's the reality.
We're going to repeat the question really fast because we're
Yeah.
also live
So what
streaming
she's
it.
asking is, what are the stoppers to us not only getting more food in, serving people, doing... So we don't have a commercial kitchen. So a new building would have a commercial kitchen. So instead of you cooking that food at home, we could invite you into the commercial kitchen to help us cook there. Food, this is how we talk about looking at the lens of our community. Number one is taking care of our volunteers, and our customers, and ensuring that the food is safe. We are part of a system, we are like a grocery store. We have to follow all of those regulations. Smaller food banks don't necessarily do that. That's one of the reasons the coalition has only so many in it. We totally understand things like that, but what I can't do at your house is I can't inspect the temperature of your freezer every day, which we do twice a day on our freezer. So there are times where we say no to an idea because it would not ensure the absolute safety of the food. So because the worst thing we could do in this community is to give somebody unsafe food when they're already at so many risks. However, if you have an idea, share it with us. Sometimes we'll say, that's not one we can do, but there are 10 others that we can. And making food in a commercial kitchen and how we would use stuff that currently has to go to compost, so many things could be solved, and we could save a lot more food with a commercial kitchen. So having those things would be helpful. Yeah, it's very, we do have some rules around that and accepting frozen items. I will tell you why. I can't guarantee you kept it frozen and properly stored. It's just, I mean, as much as I appreciate it and we wish we could, we always think of that customer and that one person who gets sick. And what if that was the person who was the only one working in that family? Not only are they sick, if they can't go back to work, they lose their SNAP benefits. They lose their house. Sadly, it's not, gee, we can get around this. We are very careful about that. We look at a lens of safety for our customers. We look at a lens of safety for our volunteers, and no insult, not safe working space here. We make it work, but it's not the safest place. That's why we need the new space. And then, you know, I tell my staff all the time, I really appreciate every one of them, but we're a long way back. back in third place. So it's really important to us to check those things. Make the suggestion. We will let you know. We'd rather hear 100 suggestions and have to say no, but we find that one gem, than we would to have you say, oh, it's probably not going to work and they don't know about it. But those are the lenses that we have to look at things through. So I love the ideas, and we're already going to meet and have the other 500 that you have, because if you've been to another food bank, if you've worked in the back end of an Amazon place, if you've worked in a grocery store, if you've worked in a restaurant, any of those places like that, you're going to have ideas on how we can improve things. And we believe in taking advantage of all of those brains to help us improve what we're doing.
Another question. I saw one in the back here. Yes.
Hold on. Where am I going? Wait a minute.
Turkeys, will you be able to give out turkeys, Ford turkeys?
So
has the
Lester's
answer.
going to answer that, because this relates to what do our customers want.
Yes. So the short answer is yes. And every year for the harvest celebration and the holiday end of the year holiday celebration, I do a survey for the customers and ask them directly what they want. And so usually I do it in a Google survey. This year I did it directly on the form. So the question was like, what is your preferred frozen protein item for the holidays? And so, we got from turkeys to whole chickens. The only thing that we're not giving this year, and is just because the cost is way too high and I cannot cover it, is beef, roast beef basically. And so yes, we are giving turkeys, we are giving whole chickens, we are giving game hens. I think that's what they call it, game hens, and the Cornish game hens. And we're also giving pork loins. So those 4 types of meat items are going to be distributed. I already purchased them, and so they're going to be sending us that before the harvest celebration.
Hopefully
So
before the freezer.
before the freezer, hopefully.
Another question.
It's being live cast.
Oh, okay. A lot of places, I don't know your potential new spot, would you have like spots for like semi-trailers that are refrigerated? Is that something you're considering? Because a lot of
Lester's
companies.
getting really excited.
I know, but a lot of companies, and they store food long-term, and you are able to, check temperatures in a refrigerated trailer. And as long as you have like a parking spot to place it, it's a great way to have basically a portable huge freezer. And sometimes companies would actually potentially donate a trailer or, for your use.
So we have a freezer truck parked right out here. It's not an 18-wheeler, because, no, I understand what you're saying. Our goal, just so you know, is yes, we would do that, but we drive, just to give you an idea, we have 3 18-wheelers a week pulling up in front of this place delivering us food. Our new location will have all the docking and all the storage. We have plug-in for external access to that, and that's a great idea for extra, if we need extra support. Our real goal is to have the freezer within the building that is sized correctly, because it would allow them to go in and sort the meat more effectively, and it's a one-stop shop. Right now we have to take food from the freezer, bring it out here in coolers, carry it around. Same thing would happen in a truck. So yes, we would use one of those, and we will have room for that on the property should it be needed. Our goal is to have freezers with front access, so that we're literally stacking the meat right up against the door, and people are just opening the door on the other side. Saves costs, time, and steps. But yes, we will have room for 18-wheelers to do that kind of work, and we will have the plug-ins as part of our system, so that we can have both kinds of plugs, because there's 2 different kinds we've now learned, so that they can pull up and do that.
I want to talk a little bit about So what I want to talk really quick about how our customers come and how is it that they sign up and receive their food. It's very important, because I also like to create awareness to the community. How is it that they are eligible to come to the food bank? And so first of all, we don't ask for IDs in the food bank. That's against guidelines in general. It's against the law for us, but we get in trouble if we do that. And so when people come to the food bank, all they have to do is they have to say that they need assistance in food. And our job is to give them the paper forms. We have a TFAP eligibility criteria, which is basically based on how much money you make a year. And so that it goes from family sizes. The amounts are pretty high. I highly doubt that a lot of people get that amount of money because they're I mean,
It's 400%.
it's 400% of the poverty level.
Which is about for a family of one or two. For a family of 1 to 2, I think it's like $60,000, which you can't live on in this community. You know, if your family has that, that's 400% of poverty level. So imagine if they're under that.
And so we give them the document, they read our customer form, they sign up, and that's all. We never ask for ID, we don't ask for any immigration status, we don't ask for nothing of that. All we care about is that if they're hungry and they need the food, they'll get the food from us. Because that's also part of what we're saying about that food access is a human right. Like, we all should have a right to eat, right? And so when you ask for too much information, people, just imagine this, people already come to the food bank hungry, or if they haven't eaten anything, right? Or if they were suffering from food insecurity, they come stressed with the stress that you don't know what a food bank is. So a lot of the times, if you're a new customer, or if you have worked your whole life, you've never been to a food assistant, you know, you'll have that dilemma in your head. And so we try to make it as easy as possible. But but we want to make clear that there's no ID asked at any food bank, and all they need to do is read the paper forms, to get basic demographic information that we get from them, and that's all. Yeah, and everybody's welcome to the food bank. We don't care if you have a nice car. We don't care if we don't ask nothing of that. If you need food, you can come to the food bank and you'll get your food.
Okay, that is all we have time for, but we of course have time for Erika to say one more thing.
I just want to say something, and we appreciate the way that you handled this part, because we have to understand culturally how a shame can be for someone to go and ask for something they need, especially food. Like as a grown man or woman, you should be able and responsible to manage that part and be productive. And sometimes you come from places that is your pride not to ask for help, especially for food. So that's something that really opened the doors for our communities to just have a place where they can not gonna feel judged, or they're gonna get some food to take home, because sometimes you had that rejection and you never ask again, and we don't know that's gonna lead to the mental health part, when you don't know what that person or family is gonna go through after that rejection. So I appreciate that a lot. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. So we will all still be here for a little while. Please stop by and see some of our partners' tables over here if you want to learn more about Toy Shop, which is our program that serves our customers over the holidays with toys, books, and gift cards. Washington Kids, Clothes for Kids, or more about the food bank, please visit them. Don't forget that we have a special guest also here, ready to be peppered with questions from Senator Cantwell's office. And approach any of us if you have any other questions. But thank you all so much for your support and for coming tonight.